Good evening. I am the elect Admiral Scott Z, reporting live, Channel 4 Zenu News. Hail honor. Inspired by the bright Messiah, power don't play, raw and uncut, like the almond ray. First, we're running in first place, there's no catch. A separation, the bright race, home stretch, goosebumps like. Good evening. I am the elect Admiral Scott Z, reporting live, Channel 4 Zenu News. Good evening. I am the elect Admiral Scott Z, reporting live, Channel 4 Zenu News. Hail honor. Inspired by the bright Messiah, power don't play, raw and uncut, like the almond ray. First, we're running in first place, there's no catch. A separation, the bright race, home stretch. Goosebumps like diamonds, bold presence, bulletproof, timeless, no seconds. Ain't no second chances, you know the next. Ain't no second class, ain't no second best. We don't dwell on the past, but we don't second guess. That solar effect, the order of mentellect. Yes, the covenant of Amen sets the stage. Your questions, your comments, retrograde is alien versus predator. You're the prey. Crucial is the conflict. You're afraid. You represent the burnt offering, the church crusade. In earlier days, they were the first slave. Turn the page, shed light on the brighter days. It's total control over the tidal waves. In the beginning, there was the word. No seconds, first come, first serve. In these last days, last became first. In these last days, last became first. In the beginning there was the word. No seconds, first come, first serve. In these last days, last became first. In these last days, word. Ain't no family feuds, ain't no vendettas. We the doctors, the lawyers, the trendsetters. Loyal toward each other in order to live better. Future so bright, we can live forever. Mega, bedtime, make the eyes pop. We got deadlines to make the crime stop. Night watch, time slots for livestock. Killer cop, spend a whole lifetime in a pine box. Find yourself turning cartwheels at Pottersville. Leave you on the Libra scale or the Potter's wheel. Ask for your last four or your passport. Can't pass the drug screen, that's piss poor. The beast felt furious knowing his time was short. So much disrespect, we don't cop time for. Put the noose around your neck. Put the next
come here.
in effect, there's only room for the elect. It's metal. In the beginning there was the word. No seconds, first come, first serve. In these last days, last became first. In these last days, last became first. In the beginning there was the word. No seconds, first come, first serve. In these last days, last became first. In these last days, first. Forever otherworldly we levitate. If you can't get in alignment, it's cause you can't relate. Deliberate, we came to judge, this is fate. We're never swirly, we're never early, we're never late. In other words, I'm a serpent, you're a snake. In other words, I spit venom and put you in your place. Legislate 48 states, like first 48. Regulate docs, release date, set the record straight. Handle that, or go back to the black habitat. Satanic rap, the trap is a mental lapse. Return for these archives, first before time. Predestiny, pre-recipe, all time great. Genetically, don't let it be compromised. Permission to grieve, sir, my mama died. In a circle of vengeance, gotta draw a line. Cross borders, law and order personified. It's meta. In the beginning there was the word. No seconds, first come, first serve. In these last days, last became first. In these last days, last became first. It's meta. In the beginning there was the word, no seconds. First come, first serve. Now there's no seconds left. Watch the monkeys beat their chest while their numbers get less and less. It's Mega with the kiss of death.
Notice the one.
Supreme, flew to the scene, the breeze carried me. Flew to the scene, the breeze carried me. Rare, pull it out of thin air to the throne. Level 10 zone, set it in stone. We ain't fooling with clone goons and clown clothes. Got them heaters for useless eaters, bottom feeders. Cause we the best, the pros, the vets, no contest. Just projections of Amen in the flesh. The government cuts checks, we're not impressed. Oval office, no deaths, snowball effect, yes. We serve and perfect, logically. Y'all not trying to see the cosmology. Went back to the 13 colonies, learned things, found that we were kings. Prophecy, now we control destiny. Obviously, Amen is the recipe. Supremacy, press repeat, rest in peace. Destiny, obviously, Amen is the recipe. Supremacy, press repeat, rest in peace. Flew to the scene, the breeze carried me. Murder all black MCs before they buried me. AHMEN with the guillotine, easily, soon break supremacy. Heard the call, flew to the scene, the breeze carried me. Murder all black MCs before they buried me. AHMEN with the guillotine, easily, soon come supremacy. The bright race, the bronze bomber, something special, search and rescue, first responder, celestial, only choose a select few. The next hot legend is Mega, guess who? Closed caption, my flag is gold, red, and blue. No time to get caught in a catch-22, Crazy thing about time, crime related, wasted time, creating mankind. I'm tired of waiting for death, destruction, consumption, consolidation. Cause politicians are nothing but walking contradictions. Linear transmissions come from the fourth dimension. Solar extension, quit holding on to that old religion. Envision the end of racism and poverty. Sovereignty, highway robbery in society. White supremacy, used to think biblically, even though I didn't see the full picture. Silly me. Murder all black MCs before they bury me. Murder all.
All right. See me going through my little ritual of getting things ready and better. And we're here. Before we start off, gotta start off in the name of Amen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord. And Amen we trust. And Amen we think. And in Amen we continue forward forever. Good evening. I'm the intellectual Nuben Menkares, and this is High and Mighty Talks with Nuben Menkares. I'm your host. And I'm going to be talking about an array of topics tonight. Don't mind my daughter. She's screaming in the background. She's going through a little meltdown in there, So try to control that, muffle that, So if you hear her screaming, ain't nobody abusing her, nobody beating her. She's just going through a little meltdown like all children do. So I'm going to call in VCW, ACS, or whoever the hell else these agencies are that come and take bronze children away. Beautiful children. I ain't going to go nowhere. But anyway, so let me, by the way, Underlord for real men, coming soon. We already got our site up, the Underlord site. If you like this, you can purchase Underlord hoodies, t-shirts, hats, all kinds of stuff is coming out Underlord. And of course, our sister brand, which is the She-Lord brand, which is coming out. It's out already, but we're revamping the site and everything. So, this is, entrepreneurial move. A lot of things coming out. So for our, ethnic American and just people around the world, just everyone, but, inspired by the future mindset of the ethnic American. Okay. So I'm going to touch on a few things today. All right. Looking at these topics. All right. Let me see. Okay. Well, I know how this goes. gotta start off. I want to get myself nice and relaxed. Got my water up here. I'm taking some of this water, nice water. Perhaps my lovely wife can, you know, perhaps put it in a glass for me or something. You know, that'd be nice. I don't want to look like a wino drinking out of a bottle. So, all right. Okay. All right. Okay. For those of you who know the call-in number, all right. Call-in number is let me see. It's not in front of me right now, but I'll get to it in a second. All right. We're gonna load these. Lighter, please. There's one right there. This is the big boys. I'm not gonna tell you what the name of this company is because they're not paying me to advertise for them, so I don't shout out companies. Only business I shout out is my own. So that's the only business I shout out.
Someone already said it, but it wasn't a company.
Oh well, the poem. But if they said it, I ain't gonna say it. They can say what they want. The thing, you know. A new type of cigar. This is what you should be smoking only if you're gonna indulge in smoking. This is filled with not with tobacco. Well, you know that I don't smoke no tobacco. This is natural marijuana stuffed in a palm leaf. I gave him a little shout to Palm Leaf Company. So you see these, you got to fill it with a lot of, you know, herbal relaxer to make it count. But anyway, I'm going to be discussing first and foremost a negative association with the word black. And this picks up where I was talking about concerning our people still using the term black and why we should stop using it. You know, I heard people say things like, oh, you know, you don't want to do black business and, you know, do business with black, buy black, black this, buy black that, or support black this and support black that. But I want you to understand something when people hear the word black. Not just white people, not just Asian people, but so-called black people. When they hear the word black, they automatically associate black with something negative. Okay, automatically, even so-called black people do. They already start to devalue it. They consider it to be of no real value once you start labeling something black. Now, you'll have your pro-black people come in here and say, oh, brother, you know, that's a slave mind and whatnot. No, the slave mind was, okay. Someone calling in? All right, okay. All right. Hold on. Let's sign back in here. But anyway, you'll have people saying, oh, brother, you know, it's nothing wrong with blackness and whatnot. They made you hate black and whatever the case is, blah, blah, blah. Right? They say all of this. But what I'm saying is, I'm bringing up the chat and okay, I got it. All right. Yeah, back. All right. But what I'm saying is, when you hear the term black, you can't help but to think something negative. You can't help but to think something nefarious when you hear the word black. So when the Caucasians associated black with us, that was the whole idea of it. You follow what I'm saying? Because they were the first ones to call us black people. We didn't decide to call ourselves black people. In fact, we did the opposite. We did something totally, we referred to ourselves as how we actually look. Copper tone, sepia, bronze. That was us making reference to ourselves that way. And at one time, you know, you had people referring to us as copper colored. Even Caucasians referred to us as copper colored, as in the 1828 definition, Merriam-Webster dictionary of the first Americans, the copper colored races. They were making reference to us, not to no Mongoloid Indians. That was being made reference to us. Then all of a sudden we go from copper colored to black. And that was meant to produce a negative connotation of us because remember, white people, or so-called the people who decided to deem themselves white people or Caucasians, they wanted to make their image angelic, beautiful, square dealing, things of that nature. They wanted to make their image as so-called white people appealing. So you can't make one thing appealing without having something next to it that is appalling. Y'all follow what I just said there? In order to make something appealing, you have to, in the minds of white people or Caucasians who was pushing that, in order to make something appealing, which they were trying to sell themselves as an appealing group of people here in the America, right? The premier people. In order to make themselves seem more appealing, they had to make us look more appalling. So that's where the whole white, we're going to be white over here, you're going to be black over here. All right. When you hear about things like the black market, you think something stolen, something ripped off, right? When you think of a black bag operation like the CIA and the FBI do, you hear things like that, black this or blacklisted and things like that. The very thing you think is something negative. You think something negative. And when they were calling you black, they were meant Negro, black, and all this other stuff. It was meant to produce a whole negative, energy on our people, even how we see each other. So when you tell black people, like I said, that mindset has never gone away. The negative connotation for black is shady, undercover, hidden, right? Not what it seems to be. Not outright, not up front. You see, secretive. And people don't trust secretive people or shady stuff and whatnot. So when you're telling people to do black business or buy black, people are already looking at it as inferior already. They're already looking at the product as inferior. You don't hear white people saying buy white and buy white. They just say buy the product. That's it. We got to get out of that whole white and black thing. We got to get out of the whole black thing, period. Let white people do whatever. Caucasians, let them do whatever they want to do. This is how we get away from and separate from blackness, because that's what's holding us back as a people. I said blackness, which is about what I'm about to do, go into a whole nother topic about the black community. And I said this on my MENTELLECT radio broadcast, but I'm going to say it here as well. There is no such thing as a black community. I wish y'all stop. I am so infuriated when I hear that terminology of a black community. It infuriates me when I hear that terminology of a black community. There is no such thing as a black community. There is no such thing as a black community. Please stop with this black community nonsense. Okay? A community is a group of people who share the same values, the same customs, the same codes of conduct, raise their children the same, for lack of a better word, believe the same things. I don't like to use the word believe, but I'll just replace that with think the same way. You see, that's what a community is. You cannot call black people, so a bunch of people living next door to each other who just happen to be the same color and the same complexion, a community. That's not a community. I want y'all to get that straight. There is no such thing as the black community. There is no black community. Okay? The Jews are more of a black community than black people are. The so-called Jews, the Caucasian Jews, are a community. That's a community. You see, these women all dress the same. Women ain't trying to stand out. One woman ain't trying to stand out from the other. They got their standard uniform. The men got their standard uniform. Ain't nobody trying to stand out from one another. Ain't nobody trying to outshine nobody. Everybody's moving the same, right? They believe the same thing. They all go to the same temples to make their worship. They all are focused on having their children raised a certain way within community. So that's a community. They have the same values, beliefs, everything. That's a community. You so-called black people go out of your way to say that you're not one monolith. Okay? You go out of your way to say that you're not one monolith. You go out of your way to say that you're not we're not a monolith and we should be looked at as individuals. But that's what's killing you. And that's why people don't recognize you as a community, because you don't do that. Okay? The Asians are a community because 9 times out of 10, they all believe in the same thing. They all believe in the same type of God or whatever the case may be. Their values are the same. They pretty much believe the same thing as a people. Your Italians and all these other people, all these different all these different people and these different ethnicities, they pretty much believe the same thing, man. That's what makes them a community. That's why they can point to the Jewish community. They can point to the Italian community. They can point to the Latino community, because your Latinos, even they more together than so-called black people. Your Latinos, a lot of them are Catholics and Christians, and they, you know, whatever they believe in, they Latino heritage or culture, whatever they, you know, manage to cobble together in these little places where they enclaves, where they come from. They manage to cobble together whatever little so-called history they got, which is really them basically being dominated by Caucasians, but whatever. They believe they Latinos, but whatever. All right. Taino Indians, whatever they telling themselves now. But the point is, they get on board with that. You ask a so-called black person, because again, black is not a race. That's not a race. That's a, that is a, what I want to refer to it. It is a, not a race, but a, more of a, what is the word I'm looking for? It's more of a, I said this before, it'll come back to me, but it's not a race. It, you know, it's just basically a title they give you, a title, right? A title or a class in which you're subjugated to. You see, I told you how the term black came about. It was their way, the government's way of knowing who was black, who, in other words, who the natives are, and who the immigrants are, and who was white, the immigrants. They were going to give preferential treatment, of course, to the immigrants, because the American government was set up by immigrants. The United States government was set up by immigrants. So, of course, they're going to give preferential treatment to other Caucasian immigrants and other just immigrants in general that come over here. That's how you know we're not immigrants. We didn't come from someplace else, because they always going to treat the natives like crap. We are the natives. That's why we're treated like crap. If we really was from Africa, you wouldn't see us really going through the problems we go through here in America. You know how you know that? Look at the Africans that do come over here from Africa. You don't really see them having no problem with the police and things like that. They don't target African neighborhoods and communities because they got African enclaves. I'm talking about the tribal African enclaves. They got them places up in the Bronx here in New York where the Africans all live together and they live. The police don't bother them. Okay? They don't bother them. See, because they know there's a difference between those tribal African ones who come over here, who identify as African. They know it's a difference from us who are here in America, so-called black Americans. You see, they know it's a difference. You see, and the difference is, which the government always knows, that we're really the natives of this land and that everybody else here is an immigrant. This is why there's racism against our people. Not because, again, if it was an African thing, they could have sent us back to Africa. They could have did a lot of things to ease the racial tension here. But we're still here because we're natives of this land. I'm talking to people that have been through slavery, who've been here, who didn't come through any immigration rush and things like that. The people that are descendants who are here in America, who are ethnic Americans, we are the descendants of the Olmec, the Aztec, the Inca, and the Mayan people known as the Mesoamericans who came into North America. Okay. Now, nobody's willing to get down behind that or accept that. So this is another reason what separates us as a people, because you go in a so-called black neighborhood, you'll find Christians, Muslims, Israelites, Pan-Africanists, right? Atheists. You'll find a little bit of everything. Metaphysics. You'll find a little bit of everything. All of these different philosophies and ideologies that so-called black people embrace is what is stopping you from being a real community. You have to be on one accord, mind, body, and soul. You have to be on one accord, mind, body, and soul. You have to be moving in the same direction. You have to have the same value system. You have to share the same code of conduct. You have to move as a community. You have to have law. You have to have order in order to give structure to your community. That's what makes a community. Not a bunch of people living next door to each other who just happen to be the same race or the same color. You know, again, that's why your neighborhoods get gentrified. This is really why your neighborhoods get gentrified. Black neighborhoods get gentrified because there's no community there. You see, when you are a real community, you can't get gentrified. Proof of that is the so-called the Caucasian Jews. Your Caucasian Jews, why they have the longest standing communities in America is because they stand up as a community. They are together as a community. You can't break up people who standing on the same code together, on the same vibration, the same frequency together, the people who share the same values, the same people who align themselves. You can't break those people up. You can't just come into their neighborhoods and do what you want to do. See, you could do that with black people because black people have no code of conduct. Black people have no law and order they go by. They don't even know who the hell they are. They still walking around here calling themselves black people. So they don't even know who they are. So, of course, you're not going to have no community based around nothing, because to call it a black community is like you saying this is a community based around nothing. And if it's based around nothing, it's not a community. Simple as that. So all this, the black community, the black community, there's no black. That's something coined by Caucasians in the media, the black community. That's something, a false phrase that is coined by Caucasians in media. And, of course, the Caucasian people in media who have the power, they come with this black community stuff because they like to use the quote-unquote so-called black community as a voting bloc in the Democratic elections. And they use reverends and ministers and loud black females who call themselves activists who come out here, and they can then put them as the face of the so-called black community. You know, a community that don't exist. So in other words, if you building up this farce of what is a black community and you're saying, oh, this is a black community, then you could put anybody in front of this farce. And you know, a good example of that, this whole hip hop community, hip hop culture, a hip hop community and a hip hop culture. There's no such thing as a hip hop community. That again is like the black community, another farce, another fake title that is rendered onto the people. That's all that is. You see, that's just another fake title to get y'all around, get y'all to gather and garner around music. You see, something that's not going to help you, just basically distractions. It's like somebody said in the chat, no community equals no strength. That's why people could come in your neighborhood. You ain't got no problem with people coming in your neighborhood, taking all the money out of your neighborhood, walking in, be it the Arabs, the Asians, whatever, the East Indians, walk in your neighborhood, take all the money out of your neighborhood. If there was a real community amongst black people, that couldn't happen. That could not happen. You see, because it can't happen in Asian communities. It can't happen in Jewish communities. You can't go in there and open up no business. You can't go in there and make no money. They look at you like you out of your mind. But when it's black people in your neighborhoods, why we can't do business over here? Why we can't make money here? And you know who will be saying that? You know who will be sticking up for them? Black people will be sticking up for them. Black people will be sitting up here sticking up for them. Man, let Chung Law and them open up the Chinese restaurant over here. Man, let them open up, let the Bobby and them open up the vitamin shop over the East Indians. Let whoever. You see, let them go over there and open up what they want to. Leave them people alone. I need to get my hair. That's the black female who depending on fake hair. She definitely ain't getting her nails done. She's definitely ain't gonna stand up against Asians coming in the community or coming in your neighborhood. Excuse me, because we already established already. Y'all ain't got no community. She's gonna be the one. She's gonna be the one that's telling you, oh, y'all niggas need to go sit down somewhere. I gotta go get my hair, get out my way. I'm going in there, going shopping and spend my money. You see? Or move, I gotta go get my nails done. Then when they get their ass beat in the Asian market or the Asian men jump and beat on them like they did the black women here in Brooklyn, then y'all sitting around and talking about, oh, this ain't right. Yeah, it is right. It is right. Because that's what you get when you allow people to come into your community and come into your neighborhood and do whatever they want to do. Because see, y'all not a race of people. You're not considered a race. You're considered a group of individuals. A group of individuals who are not mentally astute enough to understand, or should I say ultrastand, because that's my word. For those of you who say, oh, there's no word. I created the word ultrastand, just so we know. For the coons that come up here and say, oh, what is word ultrastand? He making up his own word. Yeah, I did. I made up the word ultrastand. Like how the white man make up words all the time, and y'all seem to never have a problem with that. But as soon as I do it, oh, he's pseudo. He making up a word. The white man does it all the time. So yeah, I made up a word, and what it means, the definition means is complete comprehension, ultra-standing, beyond understanding, beyond overstanding, ultra-standing. Shout out to Dr. York who coined the word overstanding first. But anyway, I hear a lot of you guys using it. and a lot of you people in the so-called black conscious community, which is another community that don't exist. Okay? That's another community that don't exist, the black conscious community, because these are some of the most unconscious niggas you ever want to see. You see, these are some of the most unconscious people you ever want to see. Everything from scam artists to ex-hoes and head hoes and head wraps and all this, undercover bed wenches and all kind of other shit, man. That's what you see in the so-called quote-unquote conscious community. Bed bucks, sodomites, a little bit of everything. Beta male simps. Undercover female, black, what do you call them? Feminists, following behind Caucasian females. All right. Shout out to my daughter, raising hell in the back. I love it. My daughter, Mincy. Shout out to her. But anyway, so, it behooves me how these people sit here, right? Yeah, shout out to you, Dr. Umar, this black community nonsense. Listen, man, don't trust nobody who's talking about a black community. There's no black community, okay? Don't trust nobody who's talking that. So whether you hear it coming from these so-called Pan-Africanists and all these people, man, don't listen to them. Okay? Because they're usually trying to sell you something. You see, they trying to either sell you on the idea of Pan-Africanism, which I'm going to get on in another minute. Because, it still blows my mind how so-called black people, right, really the copper-colored people, really the copper-colored races, it blows my mind how so-called black people, right, it blows my mind how they align themselves, how they like to align themselves with slave-minded or slave-connected identities. What do I mean by that? So I just put this up here and I want to talk on this. I'm going to touch on a lot of different things. Right now, that's just how I do. I like to topic surf. I put it all on my page. I'm topic surfing now. Right? Let me see. All right. Why black people keep on aligning themselves with slavery and bondage? What do I mean by that? Are these people not the first ones to say, like one of the people who tell you about Pan-Africanism, these are some of the people, they'll say that Africans sold our people, if you go with the African slave story, they're quick to tell you that Africans sold our people into slavery. That the white man didn't just come into Africa, if you go with that story. The white man didn't just come into Africa, if you go with that story. That so-called Africans sold other so-called Africans into slavery. That's how we got here. That's the story you want to go with. BS. But okay, let's go with that for a second. If that's true, Dr. Umar and all these Pan-Africanists, if it is true that Africans sold us into slavery, if that is in fact true, why would I want to be a Pan-Africanist? Make that make sense to me. Because see, African is an ideology. It is not a reality. To be African is an ideology. It is not a reality. Why do I say that? Because prior to the so-called white man telling our people that we were African, prior to that name Africa, you didn't know what the hell an African was or African territory. You didn't know any of that until somebody had to tell you. That's not something natural that popped into your head that you knew you was African. Somebody had to tell you that you were African. The same way if them Caucasians would have said we Europeans or we Martians or whatever we are, you would have just accepted it. And they would have gave some BS explanation as to why they said it. Like they gave the BS explanation about everybody being African. Remember I debunked that whole how life and civilization all started in Africa. Says who? Says a bunch of Caucasians. Says some fake so-called bones and things they came up with. When I said, if you didn't search every last square inch of the earth, you can't make that statement that all life started in Africa. That's nothing but an ideological ideological theory at best. You see? But a lot of y'all seem to go with that because I already know what that is. I'm going to get into that in a second, why a lot of you so-called educated black people go with what the Caucasians say. But let me get into this. Y'all get into all these slave titles like African, right? But yet you say the Africans sold us into slavery. So why would I want to align myself with anything African if these people sold me into slavery? These people didn't want me according to what you say. So why would I align myself with that? Somebody said that's, yeah, right? Why would I want to align myself with a bunch of people that sold me into slavery? People that when they come here, they don't even deal with you like that. They call you a cotter. Somebody came in here, called me a damn cotter in one of the chats. Well, it's supposed to be some African gibberish. I don't know. I don't know. I don't care what these people think. I don't care what the white man think. No, I don't care what no Africans think. Or nobody for that matter. But anyway. Ethnic American all day. Ethnic American all day. I'm coining that phrase for our people. The real Americans say the ethnic Americans. Not the immigrant class, but the ethnic ones. You know, the real Americans. The copper-colored races, baby. 18, definition, 18, what is it? 1828, excuse me. So, I was going to have the sign up here too. But anyway, you call yourself African, yet the Africans sold you into slavery. You call yourself Muslims, and the Arabs were selling you into slavery. Okay? The Arabs had our people in slavery before the white man. You call, well, no, the Greeks and Romans, they was doing it around the time the Arabs, little Greeks and Romans, a little earlier. But these people had us in slavery. The Arabs had our people, had black people in slavery. All right? They had us in slavery, had black people in slavery. So-called black people. But yet you guys join Islam. You become Muslims. You sit up here and pray with the very people who don't regard you as Muslims, who disrespect you in Islam, okay? Don't regard you as Muslim, but yet y'all change your names to Arab name or Arabic names and becoming Muslim. Now, I was guilty of that myself. I was a Muslim. I was guilty of that myself. You see? I was guilty of that. You see? I didn't know no better. But as soon as I knew better, as soon as I thought about it, upon breaking that spell of belief over myself, thank you, Dr. York, even though he pushed the spell along a little bit to push us out of it, because a lot of our people's on that Islam bad. Thanks, shout out to Dr. York for pushing the spell out when he put out those books, 360 questions to ask a Muslim, 360 questions to ask an Israelite, and 360 questions to ask a Christian. That just put a whole different light and perspective on it. You know, whereas it helped break the mental spell and dependence upon religion, which a lot of you so-called black people still have today. But what are you really dependent upon? What are you really leaning on? You leaning on your belief and Caucasian philosophies and doctrines and slave doctrines. That's what you're doing, or Arab doctrines. Because if you follow the God or the devils of your slave masters, then that makes you a damn slave. That makes you a slave. If you sit up here and you call yourself an African for people that sold you into bondage, then you a slave to those people. You a damn fool. People that sold you into slavery, you want to identify with them people, or you want to identify with people that done sold you into bondage, you know, whether it be the Arabs, you want to sit up here and praise their God Allah. I know a lot of you black Muslims going to get mad, but I don't give a damn. The truth is the truth. They had our people in slavery, man. And even to this day, in certain parts of Arabia, they still got black people in bondage. That's factual. You see, they just might not call it that, but they do. And they're very racist against you so-called black Muslims. Very much so. You see? And since you guys sit up here and you pray with the Arabs and all this, like a lot of you black Muslims walk around and some of you grow your beards and you start practicing Sunnah Islam, the Sunni Islam or Sunnah Islam. As soon as you do that, as soon as you start doing that and you start thinking you they brother and y'all all the same and it's all about Allah and Islam, see if you can marry one of their daughters. That'll let you know if they really see you as a Muslim brother. See if you want to marry one of their daughters, an attractive, a halfway attractive one. See if one of your Pakistani Islamic or your Arab or whatever the hell they are. It's a whole bunch of them countries over there. They all Muslim. See if any of them are okay with you marrying their daughter. That's how you'll know. That's how you'll know if they racist or not. If they, let me tell you something. Very rarely do I ever see a so-called black man with one of them Pakistani women, one of them Arab women, one of them women from Yemen, because a lot of the Yemenis which a lot of them are mixed with black. I've seen Yemenis with Afro. Them Yemenis and all them other people, they not letting you marry their daughters. So I thought it was all about Islam and Allah. They ain't letting you niggas marry their daughters. You see the black Muslims, they were the black Muslim woman who they done bamboozled her into damn Islam. Got her walking around looking like a goddamn beekeeper. All covered up looking like a damn beekeeper. He walking around with a big stupid beard on his face with red in it. Looking like you insane or something. Nigga grew up in the projects, now you walking around with a damn robe on like you somewhere in the Middle East somewhere. Whatever. That's culture to you, right? Taking somebody else's culture, people who don't regard you as anything, who look at you as converts. And I seen it firsthand. I seen where the Arabs done crapped on you black Muslims and whatnot. I'm talking the ones who follow Sunni Islam. I done seen where the Arabs crapped on you and disrespected you right in your face. And I was there in one of their restaurants and watched them do it. You see, you think they're your brothers in the name of Allah. Keep on believing that. Long as you sitting up here letting them in your neighborhoods, long as you're sitting here letting them open up stores, corner stores in your neighborhood and take your little daughters in the back at 3 a.m. for that ham and cheese sandwich that she looking for, or some baby milk for the baby or whatever, and she come back in there to do something strange for that ham and cheese or whatever the hell they selling in the background, and they could call you and listen to rap music and say nigga this and nigga that. Yeah, you could be cool with them. But come in there with one of their girls, come in there with one of their women, or have a picture of one of their women all slutted out like you showed them the black woman. See how they look at you then. You call yourself Christians. You call yourself Christians. You worship Jesus Christ. The same Jesus Christ that was pushed on you on the plantation. The same Jesus Christ that Caucasians, like I said, they got no problem with you worshiping an image of them. Man, if you start making Christ a so-called black man, you every nigga in the book. You gonna be every nigga, all the Christians, or y'all was all fellowshipping together. You black and white Christians was fellowshipping together. You see how much they want to fellowship with you if you put up a black Jesus. Okay? See how much they want to fellowship with you if you decide they come to church one day and you got a big old picture of a so-called black man with an afro out and saying that's Christ. See how much they want to fellowship with you. Not only will they turn on you, but the black females in the church, they won't get up and walk out the damn church. You see, that's the slave programming. The worship of white Jesus or Jesus period is the slave programming. And then you Israelites, you guys claim that the Israelites were slaves all throughout the Bible, and that they was into bondage under Egypt and bondage to these people and bondage to that people. So why would you want to be an Israelite? Make that make sense to me. Why would you want to align yourself with people who are constantly in bondage? Where is it that we ever get connected to anything that is, just us? That's just free of anybody else's influence. When do we ever do that? You guys who call yourself metaphysicians, that's a Caucasian philosophy. Metaphysics. You see, tell me anything that black people are into that they believe in or whatever they claim to follow. Tell me anything that they follow that's independent of Caucasians. Tell me, I'll wait. Tell me anything that they follow that's independent of Caucasians. And don't give me the Pan-African stuff. Don't give me Ogun and Oshun and all that. Again, the only reason why y'all follow all that Ogun and all that other stuff and the ancestors is because the white man told you was African. If he did not tell you was African, you wouldn't give a damn about no Ogun. Okay? That started off with Caucasians saying that all life started in Africa and that y'all African. That's where that come from. So it had to have Caucasian influence on it before you even started accepting these so-called African ancestors. You see, you didn't just do this on your own. You see? Exactly. Israelites is not a race. In fact, y'all go out your way. A lot of you Israelites go out your way to make sure y'all let it be known that, Israel, y'all don't even say at one point in time, y'all was saying Christ was a so-called black man. Now y'all say he's a man of color. Now he's a man of color. You see, that's the games y'all play, man. Because you trying to appeal to all these other people who ain't so-called black men. You trying to appeal to the Latinos. You trying to appeal to anybody that basically listens to your message. I done seen a lot of you guys, you had Italians in your group, you had Caucasians in your group. Y'all try to come up with this, oh, well, see, they was Italian and the Moors was over. Man, stop, man. Stop. Y'all know that y'all got that we all the same mentality. I told you, so-called black people, when they sit up here and try to act like they exalting black, the black man is God, the black woman is God, and they exalting black people, everybody, don't believe them. They're lying. Okay? All these pro-black Pan-Africanists who claim that the black man is God and the black conscience, the black woman is God, they don't really believe that. You do know that, right? They don't believe that the black man is a god. They don't believe the black woman is a god. They don't believe that. Because every time you turn around, you look at what they connected to. It's got some Caucasian attached to it. Some Arab, somebody that's non-black is attached to it. Somebody who's the founder of it is non-black. You see, much as I like the Nation of Islam under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they still got that picture of Father. Go figure. You see what he looked like, right? That's the God that they worship. And again, no shots at the Nation of Islam, but how are you any different than the Christian church who got white Jesus up? You got Fard up, they got white Jesus up. How are you any different? No disrespect to them, because I like the Nation of Islam. I like the Honorable, when it was under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You see, no disrespect to Minister Farrakhan, but let's just be for real here. So y'all always keeping that Caucasian control over your minds, man. Right? Right? Okay, I'm reading some of the chat. They don't believe that, man. The only thing that's legitimate here, right now, I'm going to be real with you. The only thing that's legitimate that comes from someone and comes through someone that looks like us is me. Is me. I can't even say that about Dr. York. Much as I love Dr. York and whatnot and what he did for one time. I don't know nothing about his personal life. I don't believe none of that stuff they claim he did. I'm going to just say that off the rip. I don't believe none of that. You're saying, but like I said, I don't get into all that. I get into the work the man put in. You see? So even him talking about Egypt and Africa and things like that, that still wasn't ours as a modern day people. It wasn't ours. Yeah, our people were the ancient Egyptians. Yes. Okay. Yeah, we were. Yeah. Our people, we were all the ancient people. But what about our people here in America today? What about our link into America today? Because these movements for the evolution of our people always start here in America. They ain't starting, the evolution of our people ain't starting in Saudi Arabia. It ain't starting in Egypt. It ain't starting in Africa. It ain't starting in Europe. The evolution of our people, and whenever you see movements come up, it's always here in North America. Whether it be Garvey's movement, whether it be Noble Drew, whether it be the Nation, whether it be Dr. York, whether it be Nuben Menkarayzz now, the American Republic. You see, it's always started here in North America. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? You don't see these movements starting no place else. They start here and they spread all over the place. And that's a sign of real civilization, because real civilization started here in America. And I've always said that, and it spread throughout the world. It spread. They want you to think America is a new place. It's not a new place. The reason why they don't want to talk about ancient America and the ancient civilizations, because our faces is on those, on that civilization. Our faces is on the Olmecs. Our faces is on the Mayans. Our faces is on the Aztec. Our faces is on the Inca. Our faces are the face of Mesoamerica. And those empires, those civilizations go back thousands upon thousands of years. Older than Egypt. You look at the pyramids in Mesoamerica and Yucatan and all that, whatnot, they look better than the pyramids in Egypt. The pyramids in Egypt ain't got nothing on the pyramids out there, on other places, but y'all focus on Egypt. It makes me think. Why haven't a lot of these pro-blacks who always pushing Egypt, why haven't they directed us toward Mesoamerica? Well, we in America. Why haven't they done that? Why haven't they said, well, damn, here go our heritage right here? You going to sit here and tell me that they didn't know that the Mesoamericans, the Olmecs, the Aztec, the Inca, the Mayan were bronze, copper-colored people, we are their descendants? They didn't know that? Why were they pointing us toward Egypt? That's not no clear line of connection. Yeah, we look like the people in Egypt. Yeah, we do look like them people on the wall. Yes. But that's not a clear line. You got to go and jump from one continent to the next continent, where here it is, our civilization was growing on a higher level here right in the Americas. Here right in the Americas. Why am I the only one making this diagonal link to our people? Even the guys who talking this Indian stuff, this Native American stuff, they not pointing to the Olmecs and the Aztec and the Inca. They not doing that. They point to some obscure, watered down Native American tribes somewhere, and that's what they are. They're a bunch of watered down so-called Indian tribes that's mixed with Asian, Mongoloid, and black. Mongoloid and black. That's what they want to point to. But what about our culture before the American Indians came here, or the so-called Mongoloid Indians crossed the Bering Strait and came over here into America? What about our people here then in the Americas? Why they don't deal with that? Let me go on. Let me look at some of these. Exactly. The original Cairo and yeah, okay. Okay. Let me look at some other stuff. So if you notice, and all of these things black people follow, I don't care what it is, y'all still aligning yourselves with slave teaching. If you calling yourself a Christian, you aligning yourself with a slave teaching. If you calling yourself a Muslim, you aligning yourself with a slave teaching. If you calling yourself an Israelite, you aligning yourself with a slave teaching. Because all of these teachings have a slave origin to them, a slave background to them. You see, in connection with our people. So why would you align yourself with these people? That go for you Moors, you Muslims, everybody, you black Christians, you Baptists. Y'all under that slave mentality, man. You Israelites. You see, you under that slave mentality. You're under the slave mentality. You so-called metaphysicians, okay? You metaphysicians. You all, because again, these are all Caucasian philosophies. When is it that you so-called black people are going to think for yourself? Which brings me to the next topic. Why you so-called black people value education so much? Let me tell you something. I heard a YouTuber on here. I'm not going to mention her name because I don't want to be one of the targets of her little tirade. Not that I care. But there was a YouTuber on here, and I'm just using this as an example, right? She was going in on Tariq Nasheed. I'm just using these people as an example. I don't get involved in none of their stuff. I don't care about none of these YouTubers and whatnot. I don't care. I'm just using this as an example of what I'm talking about. This female set up here and disparaged Tariq Nasheed for not being educated, being dumb, and not being intelligent, being dumb, and disparaged him because he doesn't have an education that he didn't, and the man, and you know, so therefore he's a dummy because he didn't get educated by the white man because he don't have a degree, right? And she talked about how many degrees she got, 2 degrees, right? She talked about other people who she considers to be educated, who have degrees, who went to college, who do this. Let me tell you something, you educated Negroes. Let me explain something to you. You have accomplished nothing when you get your degrees. All you end up accomplishing is a whole bunch of debt, a whole lot of debt, a whole lot of papers that lead you really in the direction of nowhere, because 9 times out of 10, the stuff you so-called black people go to school for, you can't quantify into nothing. Psychology, black studies, Pan-African studies, liberal arts, all the garbage, you liberal farts, all the garbage you take in school where you end up going in debt just to get a piece of paper. That degree that you niggas get is nothing but a status thing. It's for you to do what this female did and disparaging, because they get more of a push, especially the liberated black female, when she get educated by the white man. They get off more on the fact that they can look down on you and say, see, you niggas ain't got no education. I went to school. See, I'm educated and I got my degree from the white man. From the white man. You got your degree from the white man who basically said, repeat after me. And you repeated after him very well to get your degree. You really see that as an accomplishment? Umar Johnson, with your 6 degrees, because you notice Umar Johnson always talking about how many degrees he got. What does that really mean? In the system of white supremacy that they claim to say they believe in. How is it that you believe in a system of white supremacy, but yet you sitting up here talking about the degrees you got from the white man? What does your degree really mean? What does your money mean in white supremacy if you truly believe in white supremacy? That means you got a master's degree from the master? In other words, he told you that you smart enough. He told you that you are worthy enough. And therefore he validates you because you sat your ass in a school for 4 years to get a degree in virtually nothing. Because a lot of y'all go to school for nothing. A lot of you go to school just so you can say you got a degree. For bragging rights. For you to do what this female said about Tariq, calling him a dummy. Yet the man's a millionaire. He's a self-made millionaire. And again, I'm not sticking up for Tariq Nasheed. I'm not for or against. I like his work. Remember I said he's useful. But you calling a man stupid who obviously made himself a millionaire. You can't be that dumb. Dumb people don't get rich. Unless they just hit the damn lottery. You see? And then they're going to eventually squander their money away anyway. So, because that terminology of fool of their money will always be parted. But he can't be that dumb. You calling him dumb. He got more money than you. You trying to get what he got. He got more money than you. So much for your education. You got your education, so what? You can make a living, right? Well, if this man's making a better living than you can claim he's scamming the people, which again, with that scamming the people stuff, you can't scam people. If people like you, like most people are drawn by people's personality, they like you if you pleasant and things like that, and you saying something, 9 times out of 10, they're going to give you money if you selling something, if you promoting something. It's all about your personality, your persona. Obviously, he got more personality than you. You see? More persona than you. That's why he does well. You can claim whatever you want to claim. Whatever. But y'all got to stop with this whole education nonsense. You see? If you ain't going to school to be a doctor or a surgeon, I can see you going to school to be a doctor or a surgeon or, or a lawyer, something that really is needed, something that requires skill. Or if you're not going to do that, go to school for a trade. Go for engineering, or go for refrigeration, electrician, carpentry, plumbing. Go for stuff like that. Become a master of a trade. You see, Tariq Nasheed, he's a commentator, he's a social commentator and a producer, and a film producer, and that's how he made his money. What's wrong with that? Ain't nothing wrong with that. You see, he does good work. He does useful work. When I say good work, I mean useful. As opposed to a lot of these niggas who just useless out here. They just running their mouth, bumping their gum. They useless. Again, I'm not sticking up for Tariq Nasheed. I'm not pumping my fist, but I like his work. Him and Black Authority, they're useful. I just had to say that. And I might, disagree with certain things they say and whatnot. But hey, people disagree, agree to disagree. You ain't got to disrespect nobody. She was very disrespectful, this female. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is because it's in line with the topic of an example of what I talk about when I say that you so-called educated black people, y'all are really a bunch of coon sambos, a lot of y'all. Y'all are some coon sambos who really worship the image of the white man. You worship the image of the beast. You want a degree because you think that your degree is going to buy you acceptance. You think that your degree will give you bragging rights to sit up here and tell black people, I know more than you because, see, I was educated and I spent this money. And y'all get on this mindset. Y'all get on this because you want to be the bigger nigga. That's what you want to be. You want to be the bigger nigga. You want to be the big, intelligent nigga. And again, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. Because none of those degrees matter if the white man ain't giving you no damn job. Because he ain't giving. A lot of times y'all go for degrees where you can't set yourselves up in your own practice, be it a medical practice or a law practice. You can't set yourself up in a lot of that. And like I said, y'all just, like I said, a lot of y'all just go after these degrees for bragging rights. Because a lot of y'all really think that the so-called white man, he knows everything, that he's a master. So therefore you go and seek wisdom from your master. Like an apprentice, you go seek wisdom from your master. And because you look at the white man as your master. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't be sitting up here bragging about no degrees, nor would you go out here and pursue a bunch of degrees in which you got to be sitting up here paying college loans and debts for. I dropped the hell out of college, okay? I dropped out of college because it was a hustle. And I wasn't there for anything of any real substance. I wasn't going to go be no doctor. I wasn't going to go be no lawyer. At a certain point, I was just going for bragging rights. And for girls, of course. For girls. Yeah. Norfolk State University. Shout out Norfolk State University. 88. Well, I'm keeping it real. You know? Right? So, what else? Oh, let me address this thing about sources while I'm here. Let me address this thing about sources to material. Somebody asked me, well, where's your sources at, brother, the things you be saying? You know what I said? The world is my source. The world. Google it. That's the world now. Google it. Just Google what I said, the topic. You'll see a bunch of books, a bunch of documentaries come up on it. That it's not like the library anymore. Y'all need to come into 2022. Google has a good, Google's good. That's your new library. Hell, a lot of your libraries are going to start closing. Ain't nobody going in the damn library. Libraries is empty, man. The goddamn libraries is empty. Okay? Ain't nobody going to no goddamn library. When the last time you seen a bunch of kids in the library? Are you out of your goddamn mind? People Google it, idiot. If you sit up here and you talk about, well, what are your sources? Google it. I got a bunch of sources. I Google everything. Ain't nobody going to no library to look up a damn thing and find these books. I gave the guy Kamal AHAU and a bunch of other YouTubers who talked on this subject about our Mesoamerican heritage. I use them as reference points. I let them do all the heavy lifting. You see, I'm not a researcher. I look to researchers. I'm not a researcher. I'm a futuristic man. I think futuristically. I'm a forward thinker. I don't look back in the past. When I want somebody to look back in the past, I go to these guys. When I want to hear about modern, contemporary things going on in the media, I go to Black Authority and Tariq Nasheed. That's my news right there, Black Authority and Tariq Nasheed. I go to them guys. They on point. I don't matter if I never seen the Black Authority before. I don't need to see him. And you got on that guy, Black Authority. We ain't never seen his face. Why do you want to see his face? Why is that even important? Why? Because you so-called black people are personality driven, man. I'm here to listen to what he got to say, the news and whatnot. I don't care about whether I see his face or not. That's something that people nitpick on. You want to be personality driven. What does that matter to what he's presenting? He's presenting hardcore facts and evidence and news. Actually, to show his face at this point would take away from me focusing on what he's saying. I'd rather just hear his voice. I don't want to look at him. I don't care about him. Y'all say some of the stupidest things, and yet this female's supposed to be educated. Ratchet. These things on I'm gonna keep going while these things on my mind. These things on my top, so I'm gonna just keep going. Yeah, I'm gonna keep going. I want to touch a few things. So yeah, the source, the world is the source, man. Right? Right. It's too many sources out here. You see, it's too many sources out here. And don't act like you cast on Google. I done seen damn doctors. I've been in doctors' offices and they sitting up here Googling stuff. Okay? If damn doctors who educated up here could Google stuff, what the hell is the sense in sitting up here reading a book or going to the library when you could just look this shit? Don't nobody want to sit through that. I could see people was doing that when you didn't have Google, when you didn't have access. You see, let me explain something to you about life. For you educated Negroes and you simple-minded ones and you people that say, where's the research? Where's your research? Let me explain something to you. Do you know why Apple products are the most bought products? Apple computers, phones, and things like this over PCs. You know why people are into Mac computers? And I got several Mac computers here. Bought my wives, and we all a Mac family here. You know why? Because these machines are so simple to operate. When people simplify, the more things become simplified, the more people are going to use it and embrace it. Google is popular because people can really go there and research and find something. Even if you don't find totally what you're looking for, you can find reference to it. They'll show you a book for sale, something, right? Excuse me. Or you can go and look for a documentary on YouTube. That's the good thing about Google and YouTube and things like that. You can actually find stuff and learn stuff online. But you have to listen to it with the power of discernment to know what makes sense and what don't. You don't accept everything. And then you people sit here and talk, read a book. Yeah, it's lies in books, stupid. You can read a bunch of books. People lie in books like people don't lie in books. You see, sources are everything. And again, if you don't have the proper power of discernment to know what makes sense and what don't make sense, then I don't know what to say to you. I don't know what to say to you. I mean, look. Oh. I already touched on the illusion of the black community. We already know there's no black community. All right. Like I said, that whole term black community is used in politics to, basically sway a bunch of individual thinking black people toward the Democratic Party, which the Democratic Party never did nothing for black people and still do nothing for black people today. Neither do the Republicans, neither one of them. I don't even know why black people still participate in voting, but whatever. I don't even get it. Why? You ain't getting nothing out of it. But withholding your vote would be more better for you to do. You could possibly work something that way, but not that I'm into politics or anything, because I know it's all a sham. But anyway, in doing that, at least withhold it and whatnot. And, again, you don't see yourself as a group. So again, this is why you got people who don't even vote, people who represent a small voting block or don't even vote at all. And they get more, services from the government than so-called black people do, because you're not considered a community. You're really not. Again, that's a joke. They've done everything. These Caucasians have done everything to make sure that there's no black community. From putting drugs in your neighborhood, from pushing gentrification in your neighborhood, from pushing bad foods in your neighborhood. Does this sound like a bunch of people that wanted to see y'all become a community? And they've been doing everything to work against you becoming a community. And they have finally done it. They've done it. They've done everything to work. That's why you got gangs in your community. A lot of these gangs were started by a bunch of damn ops, man. Bunch of black ops. A lot of these gangs were started just so there would be no community. Just so the community would always be tore down, niggas shooting each other, buildings burnt down. That's all done to break apart any community. That's how you keep it as no community. You see, that's all sabotage. All right? All right. See, we don't buy into the illusion. And when I talked about finally burying Pan-Africanism, like I said, that Pan-African narrative needed to come to an end. You still got people pulling for Pan-Africanism. Why? I have no idea. I said this, the Africans, at this point, it looks pathetic that so-called black people in America are still trying to beg for African, any kind of African identification. It looks really sad, pathetic to see so-called black people, all the things that we developed in this country, all of the things that we developed in this society that goes under the radar because it's being pushed as black studies, African American and things like that. All of our heritage and our culture is gone as the Olmecs, as the Aztec, as the Inca, as the Mayan. All of our civilizations that we set up, that we can prove our civilizations, we letting it go to the wayside because y'all want some funky ass African identification where y'all walking around with some dusty red, black, and green colors. And let's just be for real. It's dusty. Red, black, and green is dusty and dingy looking. As opposed to our people who are a colorful people. If you look at the ancient Mesoamerican people, they were heavily into blues and reds and yellows, rich colors, celestial colors. Our people went into that. We didn't do no blacks and no greens and all this earthbound colors and whatnot. That looks real dingy to a people who are very bright, very electric, very, colorful. That's what we are as a people. And for them to turn around and call us black people, that was just really like they dumped shit on us. I'm going to just be real with it. Raw and uncut. It's like they just dumped a pile of shit on us, calling us black people. And you know what y'all trying to do? You people that got the shit dumped on you, you trying to act like you just got Shinola dumped on you. You trying to act like you just got a damn mud bath. Or you got something that was cleansing to you when the beast dumped this shit on you. Tell you, oh, African American cuisine is swine, pig. Something that's not even native to America. You see? ham hocks and black eyed peas and all kind of slave food that is now supposed to be quote unquote soul food. You know, the same food that give you damn high blood pressure, diabetes, and heart attacks. You see, like the movie Soul Food. I brought up the movie Soul Food. It show you how backwards black people are in that movie. Here it is, and I brought this up last time. Here it is in that movie Soul Food with Vanessa Williams and all them. Big Mama and them, she died from, she cooking this soul food every Sunday. And she not only just say Sunday, you know, she eat like that every day. Cause you know, Big Mama cook enough food to have leftovers. So she gonna be eating that shit out all week. All right. Your whole family gonna be eating swine and mashed and damn potato salad and, mac and cheese and all that shit. And getting fat and out of shape. Eating that damn cheese, got soy oil in it. Right? Eating all that pasta. Then when the teenagers walking around, the boys walking around got man boobs. When your son's is fat, your daughter's overweight. Right? Because they getting Big Mama cooking. Big Mama done made it to maybe 65. And she already got to get her limbs cut off. She already got diabetes and everything else, like in the damn soul food. After Big Mama died, got her limbs cut off and everything else. After she died, they still gathering around eating soul food. They still gathering around in honor of Big Mama eating soul food. The stuff that killed her, the food that killed her, they gonna go and eat it. This is the mentality. You see, this is the mentality. And when Vanessa Williams, the character, tried to say, well, maybe we should use more healthier things and whatnot, the sister herself, no, we're going to use what Big Mama been using. We ain't going to break the tradition. We're just going to keep death going. This is what y'all want to deal with. This is the stupidity and the backwardsness you want to deal with as so-called black people. People who don't even understand that you're being called black as a diss. You're being called black as a diss. Caucasians were dissing you when they were calling you black people. And now y'all embrace blackness. That is the most backwards thing I ever heard in my life. You see. And let me say something. Hopefully I don't get no strikes for this. But I might, just from what I'm saying. Because YouTube, they don't flag hate speech. They flag truth speech. Because you can go on YouTube and hear all kind of hateful talk. Like this broad that was going in on Tariq Nasheed. That was some hateful talk. I don't even want to say your name because I don't want you to pop up like Candyman, like you said, and be talking about me. I don't want to deal with the wrath of you like a wild boar. But anyway, you know, I'm just saying, you know, they don't hate. You know, they hate truth speech. They don't, it's not about hate speech, it's about truth speech. If you're talking too much truth, your video's not going to be around too long. They're going to get flagged. Your channel stay up, you know, if they don't get flagged, but you'll get what's called a shadow ban on your channel, like I got on mine, because trust me, I'm supposed to have way more views than I have. Not that I care. I just want this out as public record on, you know, the things I state, because, you know, it's all from the mind, it's all from the soul. So all the things we're sharing by way of Amen. Hail Amen. You know, it's all by the way of the mind. And let me just address another thing while I'm at it. You might see me doing hand signs. A lot of you guys who come in the comment section and talking about me doing hand signs and sitting with my hands there and sitting with my hands. There's no secret to that. I'm doing these signs because that's just how I hold my hands. There's no code to it or nothing like that. Yes, I used to be a Mason, yeah. Still am. On some level. But so what? So what? No, I'm not part of no cabal or nothing of that stuff. Trust me, I'm not. I'm not driven by the same things people are driven by, you know, to sell our people out. Because, you know, that's a form of illusion, like I said. And I'll touch this before I go. You know, this illusion of material possession that you own things in this three-dimensional realm, that's just an illusion. And you see, that seems to be the motivation as to why black people do the things they do, why they sell each other out, why they sell themselves out, why they sell themselves to beasts, how you so-called black men in Hollywood are willing to get on your knees and degrade yourself or degrade your people for some money, for some material possession. Let me tell you something. Take it from a former Take it from a former money chaser, because that's why I refer to myself as a former money chaser. Take it from a former money chaser who was in the streets in the 90s, not heavy, but enough. I'm not going to never tell you how heavy, but I wasn't enough. I ain't going to make it seem like I was no kingpin. I wasn't doing no kingpin stuff. I was a little, penny ante petty, on the levels. I was nowhere near high, but I was doing my thing. I was doing okay. Take it for a person who was up and coming, chasing money. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Because when you're possessed to chase possessions, you become possessed mentally. I had to learn that. When you are possessed and you're chasing possessions, when you're chasing that money, you're chasing that nice house, those cars, the fame and fortune, when you're chasing that stuff, you're really chasing nothing because it's an illusion. Once you get the stuff, it's like nothing. Once you have, once you have nice homes, whether you got a house with 30 rooms in it, or you stay in a 1-bedroom apartment, a 2 or 4-bedroom apartment, it's all the same thing. Just a little more space. It's nicer. Just a little more space. But you say, okay, that's nice. That's wow. But beyond, after everybody's over the initial shock of the fact that, okay, you live in a big ass house, after everybody's over that, what do you have? Because you do know you don't really own that house. You see, you don't own anything. How do you own a house that you got to pay taxes on? Make that make sense to me. I don't care how much money you got. Let's say you buy a $5 million house, right? You're supposed to own that house and the property on it, right? But yet, if you don't pay taxes on that house to the state, to the government, wherever, you don't pay taxes. In other words, you don't pay your extortion money, because it could be deemed as extortion. If you don't pay your extortion money, your taxes, if you don't pay that, they're going to take your house. They're not going to ask you to give their house. Then they're going to come in, they're going to strong arm you and make you get off your property with guns and tell you, get the fuck out of here. Okay? Raw and uncut. That's what they're going to tell you. You don't own anything. You don't own any property. If the police want to come on your property, if they're looking for somebody, guess what? They coming on your property. Or some judge guy said, yeah, I'm going to give you a warrant to go on that property. I thought it was your property. I thought you had say over the property. So you should say whether or not you want to pay taxes on the property. I bet you can't. If you try, they'll take your property. I thought it was your house. I thought it was your house. If you don't own your cars, if you don't pay insurance on your cars, if you don't pay registration on your cars or whatever, taxes on your car, vehicle tax, whatever, you don't pay that, they'll take your car. They'll repo your car. You see? They'll repo your car. They'll take your car and they'll be sitting in some city lot somewhere. Or if you ain't pay your property, they'll come and take everything, they'll snatch everything from you. But I thought this was your stuff. You see? All right? They take everything from you. So how is it that you're willing to sell yourself? How is it that you're willing to degrade yourself to live a lifestyle where all you're really doing is paying bills? That's all you're doing. I don't care how much money you got. I don't give a shit if you Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett ain't doing nothing but paying bills and buying more shit and paying bills and paying people. You're paying bills. That's why it's called dollar bills. It's called dollar bills because it's just to pay bills. Everything is a bill. You see, your house is a bill. Once you buy that house, you got to keep paying property tax on it. It's a constant bill. I don't care if you pay off the mortgage, everything, you got to still pay that property tax. So you're constantly paying for that house. You're constantly paying a bill. I don't care how much it is. The only thing that you ain't got to constantly pay for is your clothes. And trust me, if they could keep charging you taxes on it, they would. But they only charge you a one-time tax fee on that. Okay? What's this? What's this extra charge? It's tax. They're going to get you one way or the other. So all that nonsense about, oh, I got my house this and I got this money in the bank. You ain't got shit. under the so-called system of white supremacy, according to Tariq Nasheed and them. You ain't got nothing. So I don't understand how you niggas brag about what you got. You don't have anything. Reality check. You have nothing. Anytime somebody can take something away from you, you don't have it. Simple as that. And what are they really taking? They taking a car. You go get a car and ride, and the car is a car. A house is a house. Some houses are better than others, but it is what it is. You got a roof over your head. You ride in the car. You got food in your stomach. You got clothes on your back. That's all you got. How grandiose it is now, that's something else. That's nice. But is that really nice enough for you to disrespect people who don't have it? Is it really nice for you to disrespect people who don't have it, or disrespect people who don't have as what you got, or talk about people who got dusty apartments? Nigga, knowing you probably was in a dusty apartment at one time yourself, how soon we forget? You see, how soon we forget. No matter how much money you got, you better remember. See, because it's always the people who don't remember, who seem to forget. Those are the people who are forgotten. You see, on everything, on every level. Here's wisdom. All right, I'm about to end this off. I want to end it up exactly at 8:30. I'm going to kill this at 8:30. So, again, please subscribe to High and Mighty Talks with Nuben Menkares. I thank you for subscribing to MENTELLECT channel. I thank you. But I would rather you all subscribe to High and Mighty Talks. And when you come in the comment section, please have something intelligent to say. This is our 6th cast or 7th cast, I want to say. And I like how it's going so far. You know, thank you all of those of you who've given me pleasant shout outs in the comment section. To the you idiots in the comment section, I thank you too, because you thought enough to comment even though you weren't talking about nothing. You ain't on shit. So, but whatever. You see, that's fine. What am I? I'm just a guy who has a little bit of extraordinary intelligence to share. Extraordinary frequency to dispatch to the intelligent ones of my people. I'm going to say this before, like I said again, my message ain't for black people. MENTELLECT is not for black people. What I teach is not for black people. It's for bright people. It's for the intelligent ones of our people who've evolved out of blackness, who see the world and live in color and don't see the world in black and white no more. See, because that's a trick bag. Getting us to look at things in black and white, that's a trick bag. People will always try to get us to look at things in black and white when we're so much more than black and white. We're more than black. We're more than white. We are a people of living color. We are a people of future vision. We are people of continuous illumination. So being that that's the reality of who we are logically and rationally, before white people came on the scene, before they was created under the scene, before Asians, before everybody, we was here being that source of power and illumination. We need to get going toward that again. We need to get forward toward that. I don't like to say back to anything. I like to say we need to get forward toward that again. Who we really are, who we really were before we had to start aligning ourselves with other races of people to give ourselves validity. Because again, you can't say black without white. You cannot think black without white. I'm tired of carrying white people and every other race of people and being worried about what other races of people think or what other races of people, are. No, let's just focus on us. Let's focus on us as a brighter race, as a better race, as a bronze race. That's why I said I refer to us as the bronze people, the bronze men and bronze women, elemental people, right? Bright elemental people, the bright race, the bronze race. So if you hear people saying the bright race, that's from me. If you hear people saying bronze and copper, or the bronze anyway, that's from me. That's from me. And we're going to have some stuff from our ethnic American line coming out soon. We're going to have some clothes and whatnot. This is from the Underlord Company. You're going to see a link for it coming up soon. Because we're revamping and redoing the site, and we got a lot of stuff. Only for men. Underlord, only for men. Right? Real men. 2 more minutes. I'm going to close out directly at 8 o'clock. Because we're doing MENTELLECT Radio tonight at 10 o'clock. I'm going to be on time. I know I've been kind of, starting at 10:30, a little late. But, family issues and duties and stuff, taking care of business, getting things together. And me being lazy. Yeah. Me more being lazy. I'm laid back, as you can see. But yeah, what else? Call in tonight if you got any live questions and whatnot. You want to call in. 319-527-6028. I'm gonna be on at 10 o'clock tonight. You'll hear the music playing, so you know it is what it is. But that's pretty much it. I'm gonna close out in the name of Amen, by the power of Amen. Oh, let me say this real quick while I'm here. I'm gonna go over a little bit. The reason why I don't refer to Amen as a god, because Amen is not a god. Amen is a race. I'll let you hold that. I'm going to bring that in the next video why I don't refer to Amen as a god. Jesus is a god, a fake god. All gods are false. All gods are false. All demigods, they're all false. God, good, devil, evil, that's all people and personalities and personas or whatever. So I'm going to leave it there. We don't refer to Amen. I don't refer to Amen as a god because Amen is a race, not a god. And I don't worship any god. I bear witness to a powerful race that's coming. And Amen we trust, and Amen we thank, and in Amen we continue forward forever. That's pretty much it.